What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns giving you my review of the Doomsday Heist. Now available in Grand Theft Auto Online on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. And I just got finished about an hour ago live streaming the third and final act to the Doomsday Heist. So that went on for over 5 hours, and I'm a little tired already, but I want to get a review in. So we're going to do it. As usual, my reviews, we go over the pros, the cons, then, of course, my final verdict. And I want to know your opinions regarding the Doomsday Heist, your pros and your cons as well. Feel free and leave those below in the comments section. Let's go over the pros. First off, the Doomsday Heists themselves, because technically there's 3 heists, as most of you came to realize during my live stream over the past 3 days. We had Act 1 Tuesday, Act 4 Wednesday, and of course Act 5 Thursday. So 3 heists technically. And it went on for, what, 12, 13 hours total? I mean, that's because, I'm not exactly an MLG gamer, but, several hours of gameplay added to Grand Theft Auto Online. Great story, and some intense battles that happen. Some characters returning, like Lester, Agent 14, some new characters as well. There's some cliche stuff that happens that you would see typical in a Hollywood film, plot twist, blah, blah, blah. But overall, I really did enjoy playing the Doomsday Heist, all 3 acts. The finales, the setups, the preps, and what's really cool is after you're done with all 3 acts, not only do you get paid, but you also get, for now on, free, that's right, free removals of wanted levels. So for now on, you can call Lester, and you can have 1 star, 5 stars, doesn't cost you anything once you complete all 3 heists of, the Doomsday Heist. So that's good, or all 3 acts. You get it. You understand. There's also preps. We'll talk about the preps in the con section. Another thing I really like about the Doomsday Heist compared to the regular heists, the original OG heist, which I love, by the way, from 2015, 2 years ago. The difference here is you can play with 2 to 4 players. So if you can't find a 4th player and you just have 3 players or 2 players, go on in. It's going to be really difficult as hell, especially going into Act 3, but you can play through all 3 acts of the Doomsday Heist with just 2 players. But personally, I would recommend going in with 4 people. That's just my opinion about it. But I'm glad that we have that option now, because one of the downsides to playing the old heist is just trying to find a 3rd or 4th person to play with you, because sometimes it works out and sometimes you're just struggling to find one more person, and it can be a real pain. But in this case, it's really good that we have that option. Moving on now to the payout bonuses, as well as the 8 achievements trophies that you get with the Doomsday Heist. So yeah, you got the payouts. You get setup money if you're helping out with the heist. If you're the host of the heist, then you get to dictate how much cut you're going to get in the finales and how much everyone else is going to get. By the way, the minimum you can give somebody in the finale is now 15%. It used to be, I think, 0%, but now you have to at least give everybody 15% each. And I think the setup, to do that, to divvy it out, is a lot easier than the original heist system, so I do like that as well. But there's also, once again, various bonus payouts, along with the new Criminal Mastermind and Elite Challenges. They're kind of complicated because I think they're each based on, like whether you go in with 2 players or 3 players or 4 players. But it's cool to have bonus payouts as well, along with the 8 trophies, achievements, because there's a lot of achievement hunters out there that love doing that for some reason. So yes, you now have 8 additional achievements and trophies in the game. And there is a ton of new clothing as well as masks. Yes, who doesn't like masks, right? We got a whole bunch of new masks, as well as 30 new tattoos, 26 new face paints have been added as well for everybody that's into face paints. We have some new Mark II weapons, and we've been waiting a while for Mark II weapons, and we got some really good ones. We got the Mark II pump shotgun, Special Carbine Mark II, Marksman Rifle Mark II, Heavy Revolver Mark II, which I hear a lot of good praise about. A lot of people are really loving the Mark II Heavy Revolver. the Bullpup Rifle Mark II, and I love the Bullpup Rifle. I'm in the Bullpup Rifle camp. Some people are in Special Carbine. I kind of sort of prefer a Bullpup Rifle, so I'm happy to have a Mark II version of the Bullpup Rifle. And for some reason, we have an S&S Pistol Mark II. It's something we weren't exactly asking for, but we have it for all you S&S pistol fans out there. Next, a brand new radio station. This counts as a pro because you have some new music to listen to on the radio when you're cruising down the GOH. Blonded Los Santos 97.8 FM was added free of charge, courtesy of the Doomsday Heist. Now we're moving into the various vehicles. First off, one of the things that they included now for personal aircraft, you have door control. So on some of the like the Cargo Bob, the Bombushka, if you still have the Bombushka, you can actually open the back of it. So it's kind of cool. So you can actually roll up inside the back. I think you can do it for the Titan as well. I could be wrong about that. So you now have door controls for your personal aircraft. And we got a lot of vehicles added, courtesy of the Doomsday Heist, including the Avenger. And it unfortunately does require the facility. More on the facility in a little bit. Basically, the Avenger is the new Air MOC. And personally, I kind of like the Avenger a lot more than the MOC. It can take a lot of damage. You can have two modes. You can hover it around like a helicopter because it's a VTOL, or you can fly it around like a plane. It has two big giant propellers. For a big plane, it goes relatively fast, and as I jokingly call mine a TARDIS because it's bigger on the inside. And what's really cool is you can upgrade it with like several cannons, and so you can have like, you know, not only a lot of protection because the Avenger can take a lot of damage, but you can also have, you know, people manning all the guns, and it can, you know, divvy out a lot of firepower. Plus, you can also set the Avenger to autopilot when you're hovering. So that's also really, really cool. And you can add the Mark II weapons shop as well as a vehicle workshop too, if you do not already have the MOC. Vehicles, a lot of vehicles, as I said, have been added courtesy of the Doomsday Heist. Some good, others not so good, but we're going to mention all the vehicles right now. The long-awaited jetpack, the Mammoth Thruster, the Imponte Deluxo, aka the DeLorean. That's probably my favorite right now. I just love Back to the Future. And yeah, I love the DeLorean, so I'm really happy to have the Deluxo. And you can just drive it as normal, or you can fly it around in hover mode. The Ocelot Stromberg, the new car that can go underwater, all James Bond-like. It's nice to have a third submarine in the game. Plus, this one actually allows you to fire torpedoes when you're underwater. The RCV, the Chernobog missile launcher, the Barrage, the new tank, the Kanjali. I love the Kanjali. The Buckingham Akula attack helicopter, the Volato bomber. And so we got a new weaponized vehicle in Legendary Customs, the Comet Safari, and then several high-end vehicles added as well, like the Ubermach SC1, the Vapid Riata, the Ocelot Pariah, the Declassy Yosemite, and the Coil Raiden. So those are all the new vehicles added to the game. And we'll go over some of the ones I consider to be cons in just a moment. And also what we got going on right now through Monday is the hashtag Doomsday Event Week. And that involves a Snapmatic contest, sweepstakes, discounts, and more going on in Grand Theft Auto Online. And in conclusion, with all of the updates, various list of patches and fixes to the game, I will link that article below in the description section for you to go over because it's a pretty long list. Some of the fixes are good. Some you may be like, oh, why did Rockstar do that? But some of them are actually really good fixes I felt like were much needed in the game. All right, so let us move over to the cons, shall we? As promised, let's talk about the facility. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I'm actually going to do a rant about the facility coming up on Sunday. But I definitely consider it to be a con because I feel like it's a paywall. I don't really think the Bunker 2.0 is necessary. And there's an item you can get with the facility that I don't like either. The orbital cannon, which I will once again go over in the rant video on Sunday. Yes, I'm plugging the rant video for Sunday. So anyways, moving on from the facility, obviously a con in my opinion. If you want to know why, well, tune in Sunday. Okay, so there's only a few vehicles, in my opinion, that were worth buying. Now, these vehicles I'm about to mention, in my opinion, you should stay away from. By the way, a lot of these vehicles are pretty expensive, and I would recommend, if there's any of these vehicles that you want, whether you think they're good or bad, I suggest if you have the option to get a lower price, I would recommend first completing the Doomsday Heist, all three of them. Plus, it gives you money, some additional money, to help you buy maybe one or two of these vehicles. But I would definitely advise you, before buying any of the vehicles in the game, that you have a discounted option to get instead of the buy it now. Get the discount first. So go do the Doomsday Heist, all 3 acts, knock that out so you can have all those discounts before you purchase any of the vehicles, good or bad. But in my opinion, the bad vehicles, the ones I think you should avoid, are the RCV police riot truck. Yes, I know it's a police vehicle we can now purchase, but it's not really armored. It looks like it's armored, but trust me, it's not. And all you get with it are water hoses. It would be cool if it actually had like grenade launchers or flamethrowers you could add on it, but no, it's just water hoses. Then there's the Chernobog, aka the missile launcher. This thing does not take hardly any damage. I mean, yeah, it can like launch a ton of missiles at air targets, but you have to have the Chernobog like not moving. It has to be parked in order to operate that. The Akula is not a very good attack helicopter. I kind of like the way it looks, but I do think that the Hunter is a superior attack helicopter to the Akula. The Volato Bomber, I had high hopes for the Volato Bomber, but I've heard bad things about it. It doesn't take much damage. It's not as fast as it should be. And so that's another reason why I would avoid the Volato Bomber. The Comet Safari, that weaponized vehicle, from what I've been told, the guns that you can get on it aren't very good. The SC-1 I've also heard bad things about, even though I am a Beamer fan. I would kind of avoid that and maybe shy away from some of the other vehicles as well. And I'm going to go ahead and plug another channel right now. If you want to go see some really good vehicle testing on some of these vehicles, whether or not you want to get it based on performance, like the best supercars, the best sports cars, muscle cars, etc. in the game, Bruffy, another YouTuber, does those kind of videos. He's one of the best on YouTube when it comes to that. So check out his videos when it comes to vehicles like the SC-1, the Yosemite, etc. for more information about whether or not you should buy or avoid the legendary or Southern San Andreas supercars, or what is it called? The other website that they occasionally put vehicles on. So yeah, just buyer beware when it comes to some of the vehicles. A few of them might be worth buying, but a lot of them are really expensive. And to be honest, I would not spend a dime on any of them. Now, when it comes to the Mark II weapons, yes, it's awesome we have Mark II weapons, some more added to the game, but there's also another paywall here. If you don't have the bunker or all the research, that came out with the gun running update many months ago, there's some things that are going to be locked when it comes to the Mark II weapons and even some of the vehicles that have come out with Doomsday. I think when it comes to the vehicles, it's just the liveries that you have to worry about, which is not really a big deal. I think everything else is already unlocked when it comes to weapons, etc. But the liveries are locked behind the research wall. And when it comes to the Mark II weapons, like some of the bullets, some of the various like upgrades like scopes and other items you can mod onto the Mark II weapons, the new ones, yeah, those are locked behind the research wall at the bunker. And if you don't have a bunker, if you don't have that stuff researched, then unfortunately you're going to have to put time and money into researching until you eventually unlock that. And I've already done a research rant about that many months ago. And most of you know how I feel about researching in Grand Theft Auto Online. It sucks that, once again, we have items in the game that kind of sort of depend on you having stuff done via research. And it's a crapshoot because you can't simply go in and pick out what you would like to research. It's just random. It's like this gets researched, then eventually it'll randomly pick something else to research. And it may be something you need or maybe something you'll never use. It's a waste of time and, in my opinion, a waste of money, but I have ranted about that before. So, while some vehicles require the Avenger or the MOC, there are others that can simply be customized in the facility, like the Kanjali, the RCV, the Chernobog, etc. And my issue here is, if there are vehicles that come available to customize in the facility, then technically you don't really need to justify having to customize vehicles in the Avenger, Rockstar. So you could have made all these vehicles customizable just in the facility without ever needing or requiring us to have the Avenger as an MOC. Even though I like the MOC, Avenger, Osprey, whatever you want to call it, at the same time, it is interesting that there are some vehicles in the game, like the Kanjali, RVC, Chernobog, for the facility, or like the AA trailer or the MOC over at the bunker, that can be customized on its own. So technically, Rockstar could have made these vehicles to where you could customize them and upgrade them sans MOC and sans Avenger, meaning you don't need them. But unfortunately, Rockstar decided to put in another paywall for gun running and a paywall for the hangars with the Hangar Workshop, and of course, a paywall for the facility via the Avenger. You know, whether or not you like the Avenger or not, it's still an issue in my opinion. The low payouts for the Doomsday Heist, I was honestly expecting the payouts to be a lot better for several reasons. For one thing, this is kind of like the sequel that we've been waiting for over 2 years of the Heist update. And yeah, those payouts for the Heist update were reasonable back then, and it's still a good way to make money in the game. One of many ways to make money. But at the same time, in 2015, you know, before Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1 and 2, things were a lot cheaper. You know, the vehicles weren't as expensive as they are now. So you're thinking, you know, 2 years' time, you know, we would have Heist payouts, the setups, and the finales, you know, would net us even more money than the original Heists, because of the fact that a lot of these vehicles are more expensive because of the upgrades for the Mark II weapons, because you have to buy a facility or a bunker or a hangar or the Avenger or the MOC or do researching, etc., etc. So it would have been nice if the payouts would have been a little bit higher regarding the Doomsday Heists. But they're still decent payouts. I just wish they would have been, you know, a little bit more. Okay, so speaking of the Doomsday Heists, I really did enjoy the finales, even though, you know, some of the finales, some of the setups were kind of a pain in the ass, but that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to become, you know, more difficult, more trying, more challenging. You get salty, and eventually you and your team, you know, press forward, and eventually you win the day, and you succeed, and you feel like you actually accomplished something with your lives with those awesome achievements. But there is one thing that they included with the Doomsday Heist that I'm not really happy about. It is the prep missions. Now, the prep missions, unlike the finales, unlike the setups, require you to be in free mode. And once again, Rockstar is doing something to force the players to go into free mode, whether it's collecting crates or import-exporting or doing stuff in the hangar or over in the bunker. You have to be in a public lobby to do this stuff. And the same thing goes for prep missions. Now, the easy way around it is to jump around until you or one of your friends find a smaller lobby. That way, you lower your chances of running into a griefer or griefers. They're going to try and, you know, screw you over while you're attempting to accomplish these prep missions, because there is a lot of prep missions. So yeah, that's a way around it. But at the same time, I feel like it's unnecessary once again. I feel like that Rockstar could have just made that a freaking accomplishable thing in a friend lobby or an invite lobby. I don't see why Rockstar feels the need to force us to do shit in a free mode lobby, except for one reason. They want to make you a target when you're trying to do the prep missions or collect crates or go to import exporting, etc., so that other players are enticed, encouraged to kill you or steal from you. And I think that's BS, because it encourages griefing. Now, speaking of griefing, they have the ultimate weapon now. I mean, who is running Rockstar? Emperor Palpatine or Snoke? Might as well mention Snoke because, you know, Star Wars The Last Jedi is officially out. By the way, do not spoil it for me. I have yet to go watch it. All right, so the new ultimate weapon in the game for griefers. The orbital cannon, which I will probably mention more about regarding the facility. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the orbital cannon. I may have said a moment ago I was going to wait till Sunday. I'm not going to wait till Sunday. If you hear me talk about it again on Sunday, yeah, I'm broken recording this thing. All right, so this is something you buy for the facility. And yes, it's expensive. Like what? It ranges from what, 500,000 to 750,000 just to make one shot with the orbital cannon. But at the same time, I really don't feel like this is necessary to have in free mode. I just don't. Because there's people out there that will go get modded money, you know, billions of dollars, just so they can grief people for shits and giggles, even if it is costing $500,000 or $750,000 a pop. So yeah, I kind of sort of have an issue with them adding the orbital cannon to free mode, because you have to first buy the orbital cannon, along with other stuff in the facility we'll talk about Sunday. But yeah, obviously I consider the orbital cannon to be a con. And then Drippocalypse 2018 is coming. Now, we got a lot of vehicles released in this update, a surprising amount. But what we did not realize until, people went and looked in the code, as they usually do, that there's more vehicles on the way, for better or worse. Now, I understand the business logic in this, the fact that it does cost money to put up new updates via the PlayStation Store or via, the PlayStation Network or via Xbox Live. Because each, Microsoft, Sony, they want their money for that. They want, I think it's like $50,000 at least or more real money to do that. So I understand it's cheaper for Rockstar just to plan ahead and have this stuff locked. So I get that. But at the same time, we do have Drippocalypse 2018 inbound, probably starting next week with Festive Surprise 2017. By the way, I don't consider that to be a con. I am looking forward to Festive Surprise 2017. Hopefully it'll be cool. And my final cons, 4 years and still no back rubs from Lester. I'm tired of being teased. And by the way, where's Paige Harris? Where is the lovely Paige at? Has she moved on to like San Fierro or Las Venturas or Liberty City? I kind of miss her, I liked having her around in the original heist, but alas, Paige Harris is gone. So sad. All right, so there you go. My pros, my cons regarding the Doomsday Heist. Now, my final verdict. Despite the obvious paywalls and how expensive some things are, and the new griefer toy, the orbital cannon, and, the fact that we have to do some stuff in free mode via the prep missions. I do like some of the content, as I mentioned in the pros section. I like the fact that we have a lot of new gameplay, several hours worth via the Doomsday Heist, a new story with, Lester, as well as Agent 14, a couple other characters as well. It's fun, it's intense, and there's replayability to it. So you can play through it once, and then you can go help out your friends. You can try and get the bonus money, the criminal mastermind challenges, all the achievement stuff as well. And the fact that, it is something new we can do in the game will definitely add some new life to Grand Theft Auto Online that's been sorely lacking for quite some time now. Plus, like I mentioned, it is a new way to make money in the game. Yeah, it's not a ton of money, but it's still money to do with your friends while you're playing through these heists, getting better at knocking out the setups and the preps, as well as the finales, and eventually becoming a badass, Doomsday Heist player, and you're able to, roll through it and kick ass, take names, and, grab all the monies that your heart desires. So, yeah, I definitely think that this is probably the best update in 2017. There really wasn't that many updates. There were some big ones, like Doomsday Heist, as well as Smuggler's Run, Gun Running, and I think one more. I think so. But anyways, coming up in a few weeks, we will be doing our countdown. I'll be ranking all the updates, probably at the end of the year. Last week in December, we'll do that. And if Festive Surprise 2017 is coming Tuesday, we will go over Festive Surprise 2017 next week. And I will also review Festive Surprise 2017 based on what we get with that update. Even though it's technically tucked away inside the Doomsday Heist, I always like to count it as its own update per se. Anyways, that's my views, my opinions, my pros, my cons regarding the Doomsday Heist. Feel free and let me know what you think about the Doomsday Heist below in the comments section.